Montgomery County mother admits to killing her 2 children before stabbing herself just a day after her husband filed for a divorce. More on this developing story straight ahead. Good afternoon, Alex. Lafayette police have confirmed that 1 person has been shot. Now, I'm going to give you an idea of what the scene looks like here. There is an armed suspect in a home off Railroad Street. Well, good evening, Jeff. Just about 5 minutes ago, hundreds of students that were waiting patiently outside Mackey Arena were able to go inside to get ready for tonight's game. But you could certainly just feel the excitement here on campus tonight as Purdue gets ready to take on Villanova. Good news, if you haven't gotten out this winter to make those snowmen, to go sledding, you still have some time. But bad news, road conditions if you're leaving this morning, pretty slick out there.
As a mom, do you think that this is something that you'll ever fully heal from after losing a child?
Oh gosh, Krista, that's a hard question. A hard question.
In part 2, I sit down with several other families from our community and hear their stories of life after their loss. Here's a look at what I'm working on for tomorrow.
How do you get by after losing a child?
It's only by the faith that you walk.
Very few details are known at this time, but what we can tell you is that the initial call came in at about 9:40 this morning when 2 men walked into this Salem bank here in Flora. One project after another after another. It's hard to escape construction in Lafayette. And while it's a headache for drivers, city leaders say these projects are actually a sign that the city continues to move forward. The victim noticed she was being tailgated when she looked in her rear view mirror. She was then run off the road and robbed at gunpoint. Some of the hardest hit areas were in Fountain and Warren counties, where I'm literally waist deep in snow right now.
A Montgomery County mother is in custody at this hour after allegedly admitting to killing her 2 children in their home early this morning. News 18's Krista Henery joins us now this afternoon with more on what the sheriff is calling a devastating situation for not only the family, but also for the entire town of Darlington. Krista?
Well, Jeff, as you could imagine, a lot of emotions here in Montgomery County. A lot of people still in shock after hearing the news of this mother who admitted to killing her 2 children. In fact, this morning during a press conference here at the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Mark Castile got choked up. He also had to take a moment to process this information. Now, we're told that deputies were called to the home in the 200 block of Madison Street in Darlington at around 4:45 this morning. Now, Sheriff Castile says 30-year-old Brandy Worley called 911 and told dispatchers that she had just killed her 2 children before stabbing herself in the neck. When deputies arrived at the home, they found Worley's 2 children, 7-year-old Tyler and 3-year-old Charlie, dead. We're told that the father was at home at the time of the murders, but was sleeping in the basement and was unaware of what had happened. Worley was taken to IU Health Methodist Hospital in Indianapolis, where she's in custody and being treated for self-inflicted stab wounds to her neck. And neighbors we spoke with today say the entire community is in disbelief.
It's not something you want to hear happening wherever you're at, but like I said, just shock and disbelief, and we're just praying for the family. We're praying for the officers that have been here ever since this morning.
Now, we're told by neighbors that the family typically kept to themselves and there never seemed to be any other problems at the home. The sheriff also said that, according to their records, they had never responded to any problems at that home also. And the sheriff would not comment on how she allegedly killed the children and said right now there is no motive. But again, according to court documents, her husband did file for a divorce yesterday. I also asked the sheriff during the press conference today if Worley showed any type of remorse after calling in to dispatchers telling them that she had just killed her children, and he said no, and went on to say she actually acted very matter of fact. We're going to hear more from him and, of course, neighbors that are still in shock this afternoon, coming up a little later tonight.
Wedding highlights: Paul and Wilma Jean, November the 7th, 1953.
It's a love story that started 63 years ago.
Oh, he was handsome.
It didn't take long for Wilma to fall in love with Paul and find herself walking down the aisle in this white dress.
You know what this is, right?
Yes, where did you find that?
I have it. I kept it.
But Wilma and Paul Klaus's love story recently had an unexpected chapter.
Well, we've just been together a long time, and I just miss him.
The couple, now in their late 80s, were living together in an assisted living facility in Lafayette. But after Paul had some unexpected health issues, the couple was separated. Medicaid has now placed Paul at a different assisted living facility.
How much do you miss him?
Lots. Lots.
The couple's daughters, Karen and Cindy, call the situation a nightmare.
Having to move them to separate facilities has been the hardest thing.
It's been extremely hard for the change for my dad. He has dementia, severe dementia.
Together, they could remember things better. Together, they could do a better conversation.
But now they only get to see each other during scheduled weekly visits between the two facilities.
What is it like when you do get to see him?
It's nice. It's nice.
And the daughters say they don't want to see their parents' story end like this, and they want to see them continue writing their love story side by side.
It's not what they wanted. It's not what they worked for.
They paid into the system. They paid their Medicare and their Medicaid, and I want them to be able to spend their last days together.
I love him. I just miss having him around.
We are sharing the story of a young boy with a big heart.
10-year-old Peter Greer has taken it upon himself to spend his summer giving back to other children in our community. He's collecting used bikes, repairing them, and turning what was once junk to one kid into a gift for another.
In the back room of Union Street Auto Sales, you'll find 10-year-old Peter hard at work.
Put all this stuff back in.
He's spending his summer going to work with his mom, but Peter has taken on a job of his own.
We have big bikes, small bikes, mountain bikes, little girl bikes.
People have donated bikes like this purple and pink one to Peter so that he can find a new home for them.
Who would you give this bike to?
I don't really know. A girl who needs it.
For each bike, he has a different job to get done.
It's rusty.
Some need new tires, and some need a paint job.
Primer. Black. You want to have more than one layer of paint. That's why I'm painting it where it's already painted. Sometimes it takes me a week, maybe 3 days. It just depends on what it needs. I'm out.
But all need a new home.
There. I look for what problems they have and then fix that and then give them away.
Peter was able to give Dalton Hughes a bike.
I kind of feel lucky because, I've never, just had somebody give me, a bike like that.
But for Peter and Dalton, it's more than just a bike.
They got their bike and then came back and rode with me and our friends.
I'm thankful that he was, nice and he was caring.
Makes me feel good and happy that I'm helping other people. I'm done.